Hello, Neo Shinron here, and I am doing what I can only describe as an emergency deck update. Yes, I've discovered something so cool for my blessed Orcus Desperado deck that I feel the need to do an immediate deck update. And I've also got some information that's worthy of a non-immediate deck update. Uh, okay, so as far as non-immediate deck updates are concerned, let's get started. I have started using this guy, the Arcana guy, and not for why most people would. Most people would use the Arcana guy for, is it Reversal of Fate? Close. No, it's not. There's something that he does that's, it's the one that makes you get 3 heads in a row. Master of Destiny, I believe, is the one that makes it so your first 3 coin tosses are heads. People build entire decks around that. But my Orcus Desperado deck does not need that. I have, with him, now been using Arcana Swap, which is if you draw an Arcana monster, shuffle it back into the deck at the beginning of the duel. That's all that does, but do you understand how incredibly important that is for my version of this deck? Because remember, one of my ideal opening plays is to get out Scrap Recycler. Scrap Recycler then ditches this guy, and when he goes to the graveyard, he gets this guy, an Arcana monster. He's basically what we call my Garnet for the deck. He is something I never, ever want to draw, because if I draw him, when Scrap Recycler dumps a Desperado Dragon, who's going to be revived with Team Buddy Force, when he dumps this, if this is already in hand, he doesn't come to the hand, so basically, Scrap Recycler is a +1 if this guy can come to the hand. And he is nothing special if this guy can't come to the hand. So every time I ever open with this guy in my hand, it's drawing a Garnet, and it's utterly horrible. And Arcana Swap is just really good. It shuffles him back into the deck, and you get to draw a different card. It's almost like, Bandit Keith had that old ability where he could, like twice per duel, he could shuffle 1 card back. Well, this is exactly like that for me, because if I were to use Bandit Keith's ability, I'd always be shuffling this back. And, Bandit Keith's thing got nerfed, and you have to do a bunch of stupid shit to pull that off now, or, like, wait to the 5th turn, or it's some stupid shit. But, anyway, if you open, going first or going second, it has to be in your opening cards, so if you draw as your first draw, the skill will not work. But, if it's in your first 4 or 5 cards, or if it's in your first 4 cards, you can shuffle this Garnet back into the deck, and only one time in my history have I had it draw it again. Like, the actual odds of drawing it again is, okay, you got 4 cards, right? But this is one of the 4 cards, so basically, in my particular deck, as it counts right now, I'd have a 1 out of 19 chance of drawing him again. And in my history of using Arcana Swap, yes, one time I did draw this fucker again right after putting it back. But I honestly knew that was going to happen, and I think that Duel Links fucks with the shuffling, so I'm not surprised that happened. Anyway, so that's Arcana Swap in this Orcus Desperado deck I'm telling you about, but that's not the reason that I did this emergency deck update. The reason I did the emergency deck update is because I scored this card here. Oops. I'm apparently using the wrong deck. Fuck. Okay, well, we gotta fix that. And let's see, is it this deck here? Let's see. Nope, that's a different version. You can see in one of my versions of the deck, I was experimenting with Levier, who's a level 3, and you would think he would be extremely good in this deck, getting back things that were banished, but because he's not a dark, he almost never ever comes out. So, the other version of the deck was the more updated version. Anyway, I can fix the deck real quick. God, who was I using? Anyway, ready? I'm going to fix the deck right now. We're taking out this double-headed Anger Knuckle, who's not bad. Anger Knuckle can come out, and then the all-star of the deck, Phantom Knight's Breaksword, can fucking kill Anger Knuckle, who can then discard a card the next turn to come back and then be used with Breaksword again. But Anger Knuckle, as it turns out, is not as good as this gimmick puppet Chimera doll. Now, why is that? That is because he is a dark machine monster, so if he dies, Desperado comes out. That actually makes all the difference in the world, but there's something else. Yes, there is. This gimmick puppet, Des Troy, is going into the deck, and I'm leaving the deck at 23 cards. Why am I adding a random gimmick puppet to the deck? It is because this gimmick puppet here, when he comes out, he has a restriction that you can't do anything but summon XYZs after that. But I'm ending on him, so that doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out Scrap Recycler, okay? Scrap Recycler ditches this Orcust, and then the Orcust brings out another Orcust who, with Scrap Recycler, can make this guy. When this guy gets made, you can add this gimmick puppet to your hand, but I found something oh so much sweeter than that, and the reason I'm making the emergency deck update is because he doesn't have to add it to the hand. He can send this gimmick puppet directly to the graveyard, which works with this beautiful puppy. He can send a level 4 machine monster to the grave to be used with Black Salvo, and I hadn't thought about that until I finally thought about it, but in this deck, that opening is extremely strong, because we always want to get our Black Salvo up, and usually the only way to do it quickly is to use Orcustrated Return and ditch that. But now we have a way where every single time we open, if we want to, we can now drop a level 4 Dark Machine into the graveyard. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's the only reason I did the emergency deck update. Let us see the deck in action. Do I have Signal? Oh, I've also added Signal Warrior. Ready? Let's go over why he's good. During the very next standby phase that he's on the field, he will put a counter on himself. As long as he has a counter, he cannot die by battle or card effects. And those counters do not really get eaten up. You'd have to accrue a shitload of counters to start using them. But if your opponent has a field spell, the counters do start accruing relatively fast. If they have a field spell, you get 2 per turn. And in a weird world, if you had a field spell and they did, then you could start getting 3 per turn, which would quickly build up. Anyway, he's a 2400 that can't die by battle or card effect as soon as your opponent's very next standby phase. So I have found him, even though he's not a machine. I mean, remember, I am playing Dark Strike Fighter, so I do have a level 7 Dark Machine if I want to. This puppy is what he is. Okay, so anyway, the main thing was we're playing our Gimmick Puppet because he's a Dark Machine, and that Gimmick Puppet can now, anytime he comes, this deck is all about +1s. So, let's think about how we make a real +1 here. Scrap Recycler comes out. We use Arcana Swap to put this guy back in the deck. Scrap Recycler ditches this. That adds this to hand. So in our hand, we now have, we started with 4 cards, we now have 5 cards because this got added to the hand. Now, then the only way to really do another plus on the first turn is to, we'd have to do some shenanigans involving this and another Orcust. But anyway, what we'd want to do is get another monster on the field with Scrap Recycler, then we get this, and depending on whether we have this in hand or not, this either gets added to the hand, or it gets thrown to the graveyard to be used with him next turn. Let's see, you can either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Oh yes, and the thing is, if you get this guy out first, and he is on the field by himself, you can special summon this card when you get it out. So let that be known, people. Anyway, emergency deck update is over. Right now, I almost want to swap this for a mystical. I don't know, is there anything that's really in play nowadays? That doesn't destroy, so the fact that that doesn't destroy means that gets around weird shit like Stardust Dragon. But I have no reason to take the 1000 damage in this deck. So, should I change it with a mystical or not? Boy, that's a tough choice. That is just a tough choice. I'm going to leave it as is because a deck using this variation is currently on a 10 win streak. Let's see if I quickly go to P versus P. P versus P. Let's go to PvP and see if my win streak is still showing up. KC Cup. Should I just hop into a duel? No, I don't want to hop into a duel because I'm doing some weird shit right now. KC Cup. Does it tell you where my fucking win streak is? Well, look at this win streak. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have a 10 win streak, and then it might be longer than that. Now, that is getting up to dual level 17 in the Kaiba Cup. I must admit, I've just been kind of getting lucky, and when I say getting lucky, I mean that the Desperado has been getting good coin flips and stuff like that, but it hasn't all been luck. I saved one crazy duel that was absolutely insane that I might treat you guys to at a future date. Anyway, oh, let's take this puppy in to one of these vagabond duels and just do it. Duel. So I can show you, hopefully, well, let's see if the deck, you know, does what it's supposed to do. Am I using it? Yes, I'm using my skill. Yes, use the skill. Oh, I got my amazing opening, so let's do it. We're going to start with Signal Warrior. And, ready, they won't be able to kill Signal Warrior. It's highly unlikely they'll be able to. But we're going to have this guy put us a Dark Machine on the field. Please, sir. So that'll hopefully get out our Desperado. And that guy's not a tuner, right? Just making sure. And that's our opening. Now notice on the standby phase, Signal Warrior will be getting him. He is now immune to battle and card effects. Ooh, Red Eyes Fusion, good for you. The nice thing is, ready, Desperado Barrel Dragon does not target with his effect. Oh, people hate the fact that he doesn't target, trust me. So now I have a pretty good chance of killing this stupid bitch. Yep, he's dead. And, bam. And he's already dead. Do I have to do any more shenanigans? I could do a lot of more shenanigans here. I'm just going to do this for fun. Scrap Recycler, ditch a Barrel Dragon, and activate yes. Now I got my hand trap. And remember, that hand trap stops all battle damage like a Karibo, so that will really save your ass sometimes. Good night. Okay, that's a good way to end this video. Thank you guys. Like and subscribe, and buy some Orcus cards, because whenever Orcus gets support, like even I'm using this Gimmick Puppet support was good for Orcus. Anyway, everybody duel crazy. See ya.